Hey guys, welcome to the Espresso Outlet YouTube channel, and today we have another product overview in front of us on our bench. Now this is a product that I've been really excited to do a review and overview on, as it's just a product that I really have enjoyed every day for about a year. So to begin with, let's introduce the Wendougee Milo Play Coffee Grinder. This is the third generation Milo grinder, and it's the one that's going to be coming to the United States, available in 120 volt power. So if you've not been familiar with the brand, we have the Wendougee DATA Espresso machine behind us. This is one that we've been selling for over a year now. And make sure to subscribe because we're going to be doing some videos on this Lita that is also from Wendougee here very soon. But this is the grinder that Wendougee has made for the prosumer market. Now this is a 64 millimeter grinder. And you're gonna say everyone's got a 64, 65 millimeter grinder, and you are correct. But this machine does something that a lot of them don't do. So might be a little bit longer a video. Hang with me, I think you're really gonna enjoy what I show you today. Okay, so here's our up close view of the Wendougee Play coffee grinder. We're just gonna do a quick top to bottom of the features, but you're gonna wanna stick around to see some of the more tech stuff. That's really what this grinder's about, but I feel like you still need to see the overview of the grinder. So to begin with, we do just have our standard bellow. This is a single dose coffee grinder, so you will pull off the lid. The bellow, it is removable, but what I like about it is it does stay in place very nicely. It's held very captive in there. And then underneath we do have an anti-popcorn, so if for whatever reason you did accidentally trigger it, it's not gonna throw beans up in your face, and it just kind of keeps all the beans pushed down into the burrs. So pretty standard single dose grinder stuff. Next, we're gonna do a whole section of the video on this dial. This dial is kind of like a Nest thermostat maybe. You can roll the outside, and when you tap it, it will trigger the grinder. So we're gonna do a lot more on that here in a second. Let's just go through the overview of the grinder for now. Next, we have a fantastic chute design. I've really been amazed at how well this chute works, but it also doubles as a knocker. So you can see, you can tap it and it's not going to fall off, but if you lift it, it is held in place by magnets. So you can take, this brush is magnetic, it comes with your grinder. You can brush off your declumper on the inside. You can blow out your chute. This has been used quite a bit. Then just put it all back together, tool free. So been a really amazing design. I've really liked that a lot. Next we have our dosing cup. This also comes standard with the grinder. It's a stainless steel 58 millimeter dosing cup. Let's grab our portafilter. If you're wanting to use it, you can see it goes on like so. But what is really nice is this is very convenient for doing all of your pour over stuff. So simply slides in place like so, or if you were to remove it and want to dose directly into your portafilter, it does have a nice fork built in for your portafilter. Okay, so let's say maybe you're grinding and the amount of coffee grounds is just a little bit more than what you care for, and you want a little bit more distance between your portafilter and your spout. On the Play grinder, you can simply just push in these two buttons, and you can adjust this fork tool free. It goes all the way down, pretty much lower than what you would ever want to use it, but really nice, tool free, up and down. I usually run it on about that first notch, and I feel like a light bellow and a simple knock keeps my grinder nice and clean. Here's an angle from the back, and really it's just to show off the design. You can see that we have all of our electronics off to the side, and this is kind of the body of the grinder. Something that I've liked on a lot of grinders, it's not a must-have, but it is a very convenient thing, is a removable power plug. So if you're wanting to clean underneath your coffee grinder and you don't want to unplug everything, you have some of these little wire holes, you don't want to unplug it from underneath, you can simply unplug it from the back, take your grinder over to the sink, maybe blow it out in the garage, set it back up very quickly. And here's our last angle, just so that you can see the power switch. The power switch is just off to the bottom. You don't really notice it very much. I find that it's really easy to toggle on in the morning, and I toggle on my espresso machine and you're good to go. You can also see a little bit more of this adjustment mechanism and the adjustability of it. All right, taking a look at the overview of the grinder is a lot of fun, but I think this is kind of the point that everyone has been waiting for, and that's just really what makes this grinder special. So it is off right now. Let's toggle the switch to on. You'll see it go through the Wendougee startup screen. It only takes a few seconds, and it's going to default to our initial A setting. So this does have settings A through I, so you do have 9 user configurable settings. Next, you'll see that it is in micron. So in this case, I have an espresso setting. It's set on 39 microns. Now this is not particle size, this is burr-gap. And what is really nice about having the burr-gap is you're able to very reliably go from one burr-gap to another. So from one espresso size to a drip to a different espresso size. And why would you want this? Well, people that don't want 2-3 grinders on their counter, they're able to go from A, their espresso grind, to B, their drip grind. So I'm going to try to show this best I can. We went from the A setting to B. It is currently not set on B. So when we click B, it's going to automatically adjust our burrs. We'll take a look at this, and it's going to set it for our drip. So let's go ahead and click it. And it shows you real time where it's at. And at the end, it's going to run the grinder, and you're gonna think, oh man, it just dumped some of my beans. Well, this is a smart grinder, and it's going to run it in reverse. And really what that's doing is just getting some of those particles that may be stuck between those two teeth and giving it that nice little motor bump to prepare for dosing. So if you did accidentally put your grounds in before adjusting your size, it's only running it in reverse. It's not going to dump your beans out. Okay, next, let's go to our setting C. And setting C is going to be a finer setting again. So it's from 650 micron gap down to 80. And this time it's going to do something a little bit different. So when we went from fine to coarse, at the end it ran the grinder in reverse just to get those particles out. But when we go finer, we don't want to compress those two burr plates together. So what it's going to do as soon as we click this is it's going to begin running the motor in reverse again for the entire duration of the adjustment setting. Again, the short bump at the end is to ensure that our beans are not stuck. Okay, so I mentioned early on that you can go settings A through H, but you see that we stop on C, and we have a manual setting and just a settings file. So there are a couple of additional menu items, but what's nice is, let's say you only use 3 or 4 profiles, and you don't want to have to scroll through 10 different things. You can just turn off those settings. So let's go to settings and this content management. And you can see A, B, C is turned on. If we turn D on and we went back to the initial screen, it's going to show letter D, and it goes all the way to letter I. To back out of a menu, simply press and hold, and you'll go back. You do have the rev at end option. I believe this comes turned off. It's something that I really find to be a nice way to purge out those fines in your grinder. So you can turn that on and off if you wish. Next, this grinder does come from China. So the ones that we're getting in America are in English, but let's say you wanted to go to a different language. You can toggle through the different languages like so. Next setting down, we have our device info. This is going to give you some information about which version it's running. And a factory restore if for whatever reason you wanted to delete all of those settings out, which we don't want to do today. So let's go back to our home screen. I want to turn my A back on, back out of all these menus. Let's go to settings C because I don't mind changing this one. To change the setting, click and hold, and you can see that it's going to give you a handful of options. The first option is what RPM do you want the grinder to run at? So maybe you're running a drip grind and you want it to run at a slightly lower RPM, you can adjust that RPM here. Simply click on it and we can adjust it like so. Next, since this is a single disc grinder, but something that I really have enjoyed using is the timer feature. So it's not actually time dosing, but when you click it, it's just going to run for that duration, 10 seconds or so. And when it's done grinding, it's going to turn off. You'll know that your dose is ready. Let's just set it to 10 just for an arbitrary number. And then the last setting that we have is our burr gap. So we can click on that and adjust our burr gap. Make sure it's focused. And so we want to do some sort of 300. The harder you turn, the faster it'll spin. So now our setting C, we drop the RPM to 600 RPMs. It's only going to run for 10 seconds. And we got a 300 micron burr gap. So let's click that, get out. And you can see that it goes back to this gray screen. And we want to change it to our new setting. To simply tap, and it will real-time adjust the burrs. Okay, so I said that this video might be a little bit long, but this will be the fun part right here. So we're going to actually pull some shots and do a quick V60. I've pre-weighed out just some 18-gram doses, preheated our turn kettle. Our Wendougee Data is preheated as well. So let's take our first dose of 18 grams and throw it into our grinder. And this is our espresso grind setting. Okay, while we got that one prepped, let's go over to B and allow it to adjust its setting for our drip. And let's pull our shot while it adjusts. Let's dump our drip beans in and grind. Now that it's set on 650. So we have our drip beans ground. Let's pre-wet our filter for a V60. And let's start doing our V60. So we got our espresso shot. Turned out perfect. And let's do one more espresso shot, just to show you how quick and easy you can go between the drip and the espresso very accurately. Okay, we got to grab another 18 grams. This is about done. We're at about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's go ahead and set it back to our espresso setting. It's not actually grinding. If you don't have the dosing cup, you can kind of see some of the chaff fell out. Normally I would have the cup in place before doing this. We'll just use a standard cup. We just rolled over 3 minutes and there's just a tiny drop. I mean, it's basically done extracting, so pretty much a perfect 3-minute drawdown, 18 gram to 300 drip. Oops. Let's pull that second shot real quick. I didn't stop the timer. But it was like about probably 3 minutes and 15 seconds, a little bit over the 3-minute mark. Some fast puck prep and some fresh beans. Not looking too pretty. But again, went from espresso to drip to espresso, just the click of a button. So if you're waking up, you're just really feeling in that drip mood in the morning, it's really that simple, and you get that high clarity espresso as well as a high clarity drip. I did want to show the bed just real quickly. It's not the prettiest bed. I was kind of reaching my arm out and not really focusing on getting a nice pour. But you can see there's very few fines. These have sat for 5 minutes, but they had nice crema on top, which I mean, I'm not a big crema person to begin with, but just really nice side-by-side extractions that were identical. Okay, so I think that's about it for our Milo Play coffee grinder for today. You can see we made some V60 drip. Took a little over 3 minutes and just 2 back-to-back espresso shots. A little bit cold now, but let's try it. Really enjoy the burrs that come with this grinder. I don't believe I said earlier in this video, a lot of people are gonna ask, can I put SSP burrs in? And my opinion is you're not going to want to. These burrs I find to be kind of more similar to the multi-purpose burr, but also a lot more forgiving, and it's going to give a little bit more of that body that I'm looking for. So in my opinion, it has fantastic burrs. Some of the favorite burrs that I've ever used, I would totally leave them alone. Now, for more information on this grinder, you can head over to the Espresso Outlet website or the Wendougee USA website. It's the same company for us, and we have some additional information on this product. If you could always hit like and subscribe, we'll be doing more content like on this Wendougee Lita over here, and I think you're going to enjoy that as well. But for today, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.